So in the morning I was having 2 trips to a nearby shop. First one I got was a spoiled coconut. Just scraping the core of the coconut somehow resonates with the process of my work, the scrapping the core out of my fruit of work. So I thought it will be the best time to narrate about my work while scrapping the core out of this. Basically, my work evolves out of a combination of scratches which have a form of expression of writing process. It's evidently is not a writing, but kind of expressive writing which can be looked like writing. I think most of the abstract painters have certain love towards this kind of writing or unintentional writing. In that case, I draws my inspiration from KCS Panikar, Vishwanathan, Bose Krishnamacharya, of course, J. Swaminathan, and who used scratches as a motif like Sohan Kadri, K.G. Subramaniam. There are a lot in my tradition who did this kind of unintentional wound making like Somnath Hor. Apart from I structurally compose myself on the compositional grids, guidelines, which vertically made by obviously Gram Kinkar in that sense. Certain compositional lines I take from them. I mostly see drawing as a sudden outburst of time. In that sense, I use certain aspects of video into my drawing. Horizontality, which is a sort of time lapse. Me as a student is stuck in a horizontal landscape. There is not much vertical Bengali landscape. While living in Santiniketan, I found it's horribly horizontal. And I loved this horizontality. At first I was having a fight in between this horizontality and verticality that comes from myself. So I placed sort of landscape contours into a vertical composition and cut this horizontality with my landscape contours. Those were the first series which I did in Santiniketan. How these lines evolves into a expressive abstraction which denotes the landscape and its crisis where I live. Quite often it can be a cup of tea and some conversation happening upon that, like in my Tea Hill document series. So sometimes, apart being an expression of the time where I spend on. It also denotes certain issues relating with the contours, eventually the landscapes. Most often this expression comes when I place my identity, my thought process onto a landscape and its meanings. Then the crystallization happens onto the drawing where it's represented as kind of uncertainty of the lines, which inspired by that space and time happens onto that surface. The surface can change sometimes from the papers are made from a local unused tree. Every place have certain trees, which is not so good for the place's needs. So I prefer to make paper out of those unnoticed, unused trees. Or the surface may be, apart from these papers, it can be a wall, cracked wall in the village. Quite often, repairing is not a solution where cracks are too deep into the sensibilities of villagers. I think being a village takes, existing as a village takes more than being a city. The cost of being a village is far more compared to existing as a city, or a city in its all glory. I lived in these two places, a village and a city, and I know how what it takes to be exist as a village. So sometimes a wall in a village can be a best place for making a graffiti, where the entire notion of graffiti becomes a sort of village wall, grama bhitti in Sanskrit. Or the surface can sometimes shift from this village wall to a hasty drawing on my phone, where I see surface, just a creative space which follows you every time. So these are the surfaces I express upon, than the surface which lies deep beneath. If you are breaking the surface, if you are breaking the visible surface, there are cores which need to be scrapped out like a coconut. I love the verticality of a coconut tree, which I adore just like a totem pole from any other part of the world, which my grandfathers used to see as spiritual, which was livelihood of the people who considered us a tree of life. Bengali landscape also have certain trees like a coconut tree. Sometimes it's a khajur, sometimes it's a tar. So all these trees are a source of inspiration for my drawings. As per talk proceeded, my coconut was almost done, scrapped. This much core out of that. Thank you.